ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिनी व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। कृष्णो रक्षतु मां चराचर गुरुः कृष्णं नमस्याम्यहम्। कृष्णे नामरशत्रवो विनिहताः कृष्णाय तस्मै नमः। कृष्णादेव समुत्थितं जगदिदं कृष्णस्य दासोऽस्म्यहम्। कृष्णे भक्तिरचञ्चलास्तु भगवन् हे कृष्ण तुभ्यं नमः। Today we will be seeing the summary and highlights of chapter 9 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Now you all know that the middle shatkam is called Tat Pada Shatkam, and which highlights the Ishvara Swarupa and Ishvara Bhakti and how to tap into Ishvara Anugraha. So this 9th chapter is also the middle of the middle Shatkam, and it is the middle of the entire Bhagavad Gita, and it is a very important special chapter and very similar to which other chapter? Chapter 7. Yes. Remember, chapter 7 began with Krishna saying, Idam tote guhyatamam pravakshyam anasuyave. Krishna tells Arjuna that, Arjuna, I will give you the jnanam and vijnanam. Yeah, jnanam teham sa vijnanam idam vakshyam yasheshataha. So Krishna says, I will unfold my twofold prakriti. I will give you jnanam. And what did we see jnanam as? The knowledge of the apara prakriti swarupa of Ishvara. The knowledge of Ishvara with attributes. The knowledge of Ishvara who is distinct and separate from us, remote. Yeah. The one that we pray to, the one who blesses us. That is jnanam. But then Krishna says, Aham vakshyami, I will also tell you my higher para prakriti swarupa, and that is nirguna parabrahma, that is without attributes and that is never away from us. And tat brahma aham asmi, that is the vision of the Vedanta, that I am really the God that I have been worshipping. That is the culmination of the bhakti. So we saw this twofold prakritis unfolded by Ishvara. Now, in this chapter, also, 9th chapter, Krishna is doing the same and begins with Idam tu te guhyatamam pravakshyam anasuyave jnanam vijnana sahitam yajnatva mokshase shubhat. So here also, Krishna uses the pronoun idam. Now, you will use a pronoun only when the topic has been introduced earlier. So Krishna is picking up the thread from chapter 7 and continuing into chapter 9. Then in between, chapter 8 is an odd and unusual chapter. And we saw how that unfolded the glory of Upasana and how the Saguna Brahma Upasaka will get the Punya Phalam, which has the capacity to take him or her along the Shuklagati all the way up to Brahmaloka and attain Brahma Mukti in Brahmaloka. But now we are back to the Jnana Marga. And Krishna says, I'm going to teach you both Jnanam and Vijnanam. So this is considered an further elaboration of the topics, the stages of bhakti, already introduced in chapter 7. Now, this chapter 9 is titled Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya Yoga chapter and has 34 verses. Now, Raja Vidya means the king of all knowledge, of all disciplines of knowledge. Why is this Raja Vidya? Because it is Paravidya. And Paravidya is the only Vidya that is the liberating knowledge and which is Ati Sukshmam. You take any other discipline of knowledge, psychology, astronomy, and nutritional sciences, medical science, in every discipline of knowledge, which is Aparavidya, the knowledge keeps evolving, changing, upgrading, and the more we gain Aparavidya, what happens? We still remain ignorant. Whereas Paravidya or Rajavidya attacks the very root cause of samsara, that is avidya. Avidya kama karma karma phalam janma, that cycle, it can be broken only by jnana. And so Krishna says in the second shloka, Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitramidam Uttamam. This is the Uttamam Pavitram. Pavitra means that which purifies. Okay. Now, what purifies us? We can say our daily snanam, japa purifies, yatra purifies, danam purifies, yajna purifies, but all of them are temporary purifiers. We feel peaceful and cleansed and satisfied for some time. But then again, we have to repeat the purificatory karmas, yajna, danam, tapas. But whereas with the gain of Paravidya, Rajavidya, when the root cause avidya is gone, then the whole cycle of papa punyam is destroyed and one becomes free. So that is why Rajavidya, also known by many names, Paravidya, Sankhya Vidya, Bhuma Vidya, Moksha Vidya, Brahma Vidya. This is the Uttamam Pavitram. Then why is this Vidya, this knowledge of the Para Prakriti Swarupa Vishwara called Raja Guhya Yoga? Guhya means secret, rahasya. And in the first shloka, Krishna says, Idam tute guhya tamam. Tamah pratyaya is a superlative suffix. It is the greatest secret. Why? Because it is ati sukshmam. It is self-evident, it is obvious, it is our own nature. And here Krishna says it is pratyaksha avagamam. It is known as oneself. It is I, the drik. And yet, it can remain a secret to many. If you recall, we had a verse in chapter 2, Sankhya Yoga chapter of the Gita, where Krishna said there are 4 wonders. Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidinam, ascharyavat vadati tathaiva chanyaha, ascharyavat shinoti chainyaha, shrutvapyenam naveda kaschidinam. 4 wonders are that this topic, that is Atma Brahma topic, is a wonder because it is so subtle. And then the teacher is a wonder because the teacher is able to communicate this subtle topic. But you know what is the greatest wonder? All of you. The students are the greatest wonder. Why? Because where is the Nachiketa kind of student who is willing to systematically and consistently listen to Brahma Vidya, who has Shraddha and who pursues it with enthusiasm, hopefully, till the knowledge is gained. That's the third wonder. But then Krishna says there is a fourth wonder. Shrutva api yaha na veda. Even after years and perhaps decades of doing Shravanam, one may not gain this knowledge. Why is that so? Because the mind is not ready yet. The mind is not prepared. And we know what are the qualifications for this Paravidya to sink in? Sadhana Chatushtayam. So the one who is Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannaha Adhikari, for such a person, it will be so sukham, sulabham, easy. to gain. That is the mind that is drawn inwards away from the materialistic pursuits of life, and who has that emotional maturity can understand it step by step. But for the mind that is still, somewhat worldly minded and looking for external pursuits to get that inner ananda, then it is durlabham. So, if you remember Mundaka Upanishad, Shaunaka, the student, asks Angiras, no, Hey Bhagavan, Kasminno Bhagavo Vijñate Sarvamidam Vijñatam Bhavati iti. Tell me that knowledge, knowing which everything is gained. That liberating knowledge is what I want. So, in the 7th chapter, we also saw that this is a rare discipline. Why? Because Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschit Yatati Siddhagi Yatatamapi Siddhanam Kaschit Mam Veti Tatvataha. 1 in 1,000 or 1,000,000 pursue this knowledge, Rajavidya. And even amongst thousands pursuing, only one will know me Tatvataha. In essence, will know my para prakriti swarupa. Who says this? Krishna. So Krishna has already talked about in chapter 7 that how the majority will be totally caught up in my apara prakriti swarupaha and mohitam, and the rare one will dedicate himself or herself to the pursuit of the knowledge of the para prakriti. Then Krishna also says this knowledge is dharmyam. Dharmyam means as per the Vaidika dharma. As per the Vaidika dharma, we know the 4 Purusharthas, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So this liberating knowledge, which is moksha vidya, is to be gained. And the Vedic way of life is a route for gaining this moksha prapti. And it is also susukham, easy. Why is it easy? Because to just simply be oneself, what do I have to do? Do I have to do a meticulous, elaborate rituals, Koti Archana, Laksharchana? Do I have to stand on my head and do Shirshasana? Or do I have to go to the Char Dhams or Kailas, Manasarovar? We may do all these. There's nothing wrong in all this, but we have seen all these are auxiliary karmas, which purify. There is a need to purify Vak, or there's a need to purify the level of the body, mind, or sense organs. But this Vidya is the Uttamam Pavitram. So then in the 3rd shloka, Krishna says, Ashraddha dhanaha purushaha mrityu samsara vartmani. Those who do not have Shraddha in this pursuit of Paraprakriti Swarupa Jnanam of Ishvara, they remain going round and round in samsara. So that is a little introduction here. Now we have in this chapter the 2 key verses, and we know they are number 4 and number 5. And those verses, they express the whole essence of this Vedanta. So this chapter is divided into these topics. The first initial verses are praising this knowledge, Rajavidya and Raja Guhyam, as a subtle knowledge. Then, what is the nature of God? That is the Para Prakriti Swarupa of Nirguna Parabrahma will be revealed to us shortly. Then, what is the cause of bondage? Then, what are the 2 kinds of bhaktas? The Sakama bhaktas and the Nishkama bhaktas. And then finally, how transforming is bhakti? Bhakti can transform even the Duratmas, the worst sinner, can turn over a new leaf in an instant. And that is the concluding part. But now let us look at these, the 2 important shlokas, 4 and 5. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadavyaktamurtina matsthani sarva bhutani nachaham teshvavasthitaha. So here, what does Krishna say? Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina matsthani sarvabhutani na cha aham teshu avasthitaha. Okay. Now, this may appear a little cryptic, so beginners, don't worry. I will explain it another time also. But here, what does Krishna say? He says, Maya tatam idam jagat. Now, this word tatam means pervaded. It comes from the tan dhatu. Dhatu is a Sanskrit verb. Tan dhatu means vistare, to spread. So, Krishna says the whole universe is tatam, pervaded maya, by me. Then what kind of me? Avyakta murtina. That is, I am not visible to your senses, but I pervade the entire Jagat. Now, just like take the example of space. No? The whole space is pervading the entire Jagat, is it not? The space is accommodating, pervading the heaviest and the lightest planets, the galaxies, billions of stars and suns and lokas, jivarashis, and all our bodies, all our actions, everything. But space is not visible. So we can say the Jagat is pervaded by space. But now Krishna says, Nirguna Parabrahma pervades even space. Even space is accommodated or in the Brahma Tattvam. Now, this is not a location, like I say there is something inside the pot, not like that. It is like the gold and the ornaments. All the golden ornaments, the bangle, the earrings and the anklets, they are pervaded by gold. So gold is the karanam, ornaments are the karyam. So Ishvara is sarvasya karanam and Jagat and all our bodies and entities are karyani. So the cause is pervading the effects. That is how we understand as Maya Tatamidam Jagadavyakta Murtina. Familiar examples, we know water pervades the waves in an ocean. Yeah, and even more familiar, the clay pervades the pot family. Yeah, if you have pots and kettles and kulhards, clay is the karanam. Clay pervades all the pots and pans. Then look at the second line, Matsthani Sarva Bhutani. So we can say that the whole Jagat and everything, Krishna says, is in me. Because everything is a modification of my Maya. So the Apara Prakriti has manifested as the entire Jagat by the power of Maya. So Krishna says, all the beings are in me. Yeah? Like if the gold would say, all the ornaments are really in me. Because I am the cause, the gold. The gold has been formed into ornaments. But now, look at the last quarter. It says that, Nacha aham teshu avasthitaha. But Krishna says, I am not in them. Yeah, this is where we have to be very alert. Yeah? So it is like the gold saying, I am not in the ornaments. The water is not in the wave. Now, how is that possible? Because what is meant here is that the ornaments can all exist because of gold. Yeah, they are dependent. But does gold depend on the ornaments? No. So the gold can independently exist. So the gold says, they are all my own namarupas. They are modifications of me. So Ishvara says, everything is an effect manifested from me. But I independently exist as pure consciousness. Yeah. So I am not connected to them. I'm not connected to them. I'm not associated with them like the clay. The clay can independently exist. But where is the pot? The pot is only Namarupa. So that is this cryptic verse number 4. Now it's going to get even more cryptic in this shloka number 5. So let's look at that. So number 5 is this one. न च मत्स्थानि भूतानि पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम् भूतभृन्न च भूतस्थः ममात्मा भूतभावनः न च मत्स्थानि भूतानि पश्य मे योगम् ऐश्वरम् भूतभृत् न च भूतस्थः मम आत्मा भूतभावनः. Now you see that the verse 5 is completely reversing Krishna's statement. So in the earlier verse 4, Krishna said, all the beings are in me. But now the fifth one says, Nacha matstani bhutani. That is, the whole Jagat is not in me. Yeah? Looks like Krishna is contradicting himself. But then he says, Pashyame yoga maishwaram. Look at my magic. Look at the yoga maya. Now, let me explain that. Is take the example of the dream. Now, last night's dream, was it real? Yes. The dream is always real to the dreamer for the duration of the dream. Right? So, in the dream, we felt we were chased, we ran, and there was sweat. I was frightened, and then I came across a good person, or I was hungry. There was dream hunger, dream food was provided, and so on. Dream continued. But on waking up, the whole dream with the sukham dukham is negated. Right? Where did the dream go? It got negated on waking up. So the shloka number 5 talks about the jnani's vision, the paramarthika drishti, which means the jnani who has woken up to that Atma Brahma Satyam and was understood that really even the what we call mithya objects, mithya world is really Satyam. So there is, in the vision of the jnani, there is only Sarvam Brahma Eva, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. So does not even see two, sees only one. That is the vision of oneness. Yeah. So you see, can you appreciate verse 4 is the lower level of understanding. It is the Vyavaharika Drishti. So because Mithya is very much there, I see all of you, you see me, but I see your bodies and you see my body. Right? Minds we cannot really see. But for the jnani, that even the bodies, Mithya trees, Mithya mountains is really Satyam. So there is only the vision of Satyam. Okay. So that is the, with the analogy of dream, it becomes easier. So when we dwell upon such verses, you see 4 and 5, they appear to contradict. And that is why we can never do Shravanam without the grace of a Guru Parampara. Without an Acharya guiding our minds, how to resolve the cryptic shlokas and mantras, we cannot figure it out by ourselves. So there is a word of caution by Shankaracharya that swatantrena shavanam na kuryat. May one never do shavanam, independently by oneself. Okay? So here, having said this, you can see that there are these orders of reality. There is an absolute order called Paramarthika Satyam, and that is our higher nature, which is attributeless, nirguna, timeless, ajo nitya shashvatoyam puranaha, all that. Then there is a relative order of reality, which is apara, which is empirical, and I have a personality, I interact, I transact with the anatma bodies, and this is a saguna level. So that is why the famous statement of Shankaracharya, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. So when one is clear that clay is the karanam for the pot, clay is Satyam. Nothing can happen to clay, but pot comes and goes. Pot is a modification of clay. Pot is karyam, pot is mithya, and pot is perishable. Okay? So, so those were the cryptic verse number 4 and 5. And the more we, do Shravanam, this becomes clear to us. Okay? Then in the 6th shloka, Krishna actually gives an example to understand this better. Yathakashasthito vayuhu Yathakashasthito nityam vayus sarvatra go mahan tatha sarvani bhutani matsthan nityapadharaya upadharaya. May one know, may you know what? Just as Akasha, you take space. Now space accommodates everything. Sentient, insentient, moving, unmoving. What about Vayu? Air. Air is confined to space. So, air is moving about within space. It cannot go outside space. So too, Krishna says, Sarvani Bhutani Matsthani. So all these entities are in me. Yeah, I pervade them as its Karanam. Okay, that was the sixth one. Now, from 7th up to 10, Krishna is talking about the eternal cycles of Srishti, Sthiti, and Laya that is going on eternally. Prakritim swam avashtabhya visrajami punah punaha bhutagramam imam kritsnam avasham prakrite vashat. So Krishna says that in the day of Brahma, I manifest the Srishti. I empower my Maya Shakti and there is Srishti. Worlds come into being. Then Avasham. Avasham means helplessly. We have no choice. So the Jivas and the Lokas are all manifest in the day of Brahma as the Srishti, creation. Then in the night of Brahma, Kalpakshe. At the end of a Kalpa, everything is withdrawn into the causal state. And again, Kalpadao, at the beginning of the next Kalpa, they are brought forth again. So thus, this is happening continuously. But then Krishna says in the 9th shloka, Nachamam tani karmani nibattanti dhananjaya. Arjuna, Dhananjaya, but because my Swarupa is para prakriti, nothing happens to me. I am udasinavat sakshi. Udasinavat means uninvolved, unconnected, unaffected sakshi. That is the nature of para prakriti. Even though I empower and bless my own Shakti, Swa Maya, to do all this, and my Prakriti does all this, but I am Adhyaksha. The examples is given of a Raja, a king, or the Prime Minister of any country, who has a supreme authority. So when the Prime Minister arrives, then actions happen by themselves. Bills are passed, resolutions are passed, administration flows. But the Raja is just to come and sit there. So like that, Krishna is explaining his point of view. This is who I am. I'm not affected. So that is the para prakriti sarupa or nirguna parabrahma. But Krishna has made it clear that my apara prakriti, by the power of Maya, manifests the Jagat, and everything is changing in the Jagat. Arriving, departing, being sustained, and continuously on the move. So, now we come to the cause of samsara. And before that, now let us appreciate the features of that Nirguna Parabrahma. So we know Parabrahma is formless, avyaktam, then it is everywhere. Sarvagatatvam, because it is sarvasya karanam, jagat karanam, it is everywhere. Then it is mithya jagadadisthana. We come across this name in the Lalita Sahasranama, you would recall. So Brahman is the support of this mithya jagat. Then it is the Srishti Sthiti Laya Karanam of the universe. And then it is Asangam. Asangam is, it is unaffected. Like the waves in an ocean, the waves will be dashed across the rocks, but does anything happen to the water? No. Ornaments can be melted or stolen or damaged, but gold remains gold. So like that, Brahman is akarta abhokta. It's never affected by any action that happens all these cosmic functions, Srishti, Sthiti, Laya, that happens within the time-space canvas by the power of Trigunatmika Maya. But who is the Lord of Maya? Krishna says, that's me. That is Nirguna Parabrahma Para Prakriti Swarup. Okay? Now, similar things we have seen in the chapter 7. Now, again, Krishna is going to say, what is the cause of samsara? Where is the problem now? Number 11. Shloka number 11, Krishna says, Avajananti ma mudhaha manushim tanumashritam param bhavamajanantaha mama bhuta maheshwaram. So now the cause of samsara, Krishna says, is the lack of knowledge of my para prakriti. Everybody, the majority of what do they think? People, what do they think? I am only in this statue. Yeah, I am in the Shiva, in the Krishna, in the Devi statue. Yeah, Manushim Tanu Ashritam. That is, they have confined me to just this much alone, to an avatara, to a form. But now we see that Krishna is much more than that. So Krishna says, Param Bhavam Ajanantaha. Those who do not know my Param Bhavam, they are mudhaha. Mudhaha means deluded. Yeah. So those who, now here we have to understand it that everybody prays to a Saguna Brahma Ishvara first. No? We cannot just jump to the timeless, formless Ishvara. How do we even pray to such an Ishvara without a form? In fact, you cannot pray because we can only pray to the Nirguna Parabrahma in the temple of one's heart. How? Drishya Anuvidya Savikalpa Samadhi, Shabda Anuvidya Savikalpa Samadhi, we saw in Drishya. Only by Shravanam, Maranam, Nididhyasanam can the Mumukshu, come to this Nirguna Parabrahma. But until then, what do? We have to pray to something distinct from us. Because there is Deha Abhimana, I think even Bhagavan has a Vesha, a costume. So Bhagavan will come to me in the form of a Sri Rama, Sri Krishna, Devi riding on a lion. And all these are supports. Alambanam. Alambanam for my bhakti to develop and be cultivated. Yeah? But staying at the Saguna Brahma Ishvara, is that going to help? Take the case of Kamsa. In the Bhagavatam, Kamsa was the uncle of Krishna, but did he recognize Krishna? No, Ravana. Ravana came in battle with Sri Rama. Did he recognize Sri Rama? No. So, the Saguna Brahma is a temporary stage where we are emotionally dependent on a form with attributes, somebody who is more powerful and who can grant my wishes and to whom I can seek, a refuge and solace and be comforted. That's fine. We all are doing this. We have done that. But now Krishna wants to elevate us to the vision of the Upanishads and take us to Para Prakriti Swarupaha. And so he says, Moghasha Mogha Karmanaha. Those who are very attached to, the finite goals in life, Mogha, Vyartham, waste is their effort. Yeah. They are the Asuris. Then in the 13th shloka, Krishna says, those who are Sattvic, Mahatmas, they are endowed with a Daivi Prakriti. They have a Sattvic tendency, and such Sattvic Mumukshus and Jignasus, they are Ananya Manasaha. They worship me with Ananya Bhakti. Remember, we saw the 4 Bhaktas, Artha, Arthati, Jignasu, and Jnani Bhaktas. So the Artha and Arthati Bhaktas will worship which Prakriti? Apara Prakriti of Ishvara, Saguna Brahma. But the Jignasus, they will be curious. Is there somebody behind this form? Whom am I worshipping really? So they are curious about the higher nature of Brahma. And they go on to become the fulfilled Bhakta, the Jnanis. And Krishna is praising them and says, they worship me with Ananya Bhakti. Then in 14, 15, and so on, Krishna says, all these bhaktas, they are all worshipping me in various ways. Some are doing Kirtanam. Some are doing Velaka Puja today. Some are visiting Balaji Tirupati. Some are doing Seva in the world, Narayana Seva. Some are doing Tapas and Dhanam. But some are attending the Zoom Vedanta classes and they are doing Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. So those are the Jignasu Bhaktas. But all of them will come to me. Krishna is assuring. Namasyantaha Bhaktya, and they will all become Nitya Yuktas, connected with me always. So now, we can appreciate that the journey is from Eka Bhakti we all start with. That is, we are devoted to one form of Ishvara. Krishna, mostly, or Sri Rama, Devi, Hanuman, Ganesha. This is called Eka Ishta Devata Bhakti. Then, when the mind becomes more mature, it expands to Aneka Vishwarupa Bhakti. I begin to see my Sri Rama, my Krishna in all the beings in the world. I see the hand of Rama, hand of Krishna. That is called Vishwa Bhakti, more mature. But then Krishna says, who are the Nitya Yuktas, ever connected with me, who are enjoying the Arupa Bhakti, Jnana Bhakti. Those jnanis who are worshipping me in the temple of their hearts, who know that they are never away from me, who are not emotionally dependent on my forms and names and what I can do for them, but they have no demands, no expectations, and they just want me. They have recognized and discovered me in their own hearts. Ekatvena pritatvena bahudha vishvato mukham. Krishna has said that there. Then, that is the 15th, 13th shloka there. Then from 16th onwards up to 19th, now we see a sample of the glories of Bhagavan. And Krishna says, Aham kraturaham yajnaha swadahamaha maushatham mantrohamahame vajyam ahamakniraham hutam. Krishna says, I am kratuhu. I am in the form of all actions, Vedic rituals. I am the offering, I am the fire, I am the ghee, I am the mantra, I am the sankalpa. Yeah. Then I am the Pita and Mata of the Jagat. So I am your parents. That's why Puja Swamiji would say, nobody can be called an orphan. Even if we may not have our physical parents, but Bhagavan fills the need for that and says, I am there. I nourish and sustain everything in the world. And not only that, Krishna says, I am Pitamaha also. I am the grandfather. How can Ishvara be the grandfather? If you consider the creator, Hiranyagarbha, as the father of Srishti, then who created Hiranyagarbha? That is the Pitamaha, grandfather. And so Krishna goes on, Vedyam, Pavitram, Omkara, I am Omkara, I am all the Vedas, Rik, Sama, Yajuho, I am Gatihi. I am in the form of progress, I am the sustainer, I am the Lord, I am the Sakshi, I am the dwelling place where everybody takes Sharanam. I am Prabhavaha Pralayaha Sthanam. So I am the point of emergence of the Srishti. I am the point of resolution of the Jagat. Everything folds back into me only to manifest again. I am Bijam Avyayam. I am the causal, imperishable seed of the entire universe. Then Tapami Ahamaham Varsham Nigrinhami Utsujami Cha. So I heat up the earth. Yeah, like now, here in Telangana, it's very hot and it's going to rain. So Krishna is saying this, Tapami aham varsham nigrinhami. So I heat up to a certain temperature, hot summers, and then I bring forth the Varshakala. I hold the rain in the clouds and the rain-bearing clouds, and then I shower the rains. So Amritam Chaiva, I am the immortality, and I am Mrityuhu. I am in the form of time that puts an end to everything, and I am Sat and I am Asat, which means I am the cause and the effect. Karanam and Karyam. Hey Arjuna. Now here we see how Krishna described a sample of his glories, but in the next chapter we're going to see a bigger range of glories. Now, in the next shlokas, 20 onwards, we see the description of the Sakama Bhaktas and the Nishkama Bhaktas. What is the difference between the two? 20th verse in Trishtup says, Traividyamam somapa putapapaha yajnairištva svargatim prarthayante te punyamasadya surendra lokam ashnanti divyan divi deva bhogan. Now those die-hard ritualists, those who believe karma is everything. So they have studied the Vedas, they do Parayanam, they perform the yajnas meticulously. And then what happens to them? Punyam asadya, they have gained the karma phalam, punyam, and they go to Surendra Lokam. They have the chance to go via the Shuklagati all the way up to Svargalokas like Indraloka. And what do they do there? They drink the Soma, Somapaha. So they drink the divine elixir called Soma and they enjoy non-stop entertainment by Urvashi and Rambha. And there is no want, there is no disease, there is no aging, there is no suffering there, no power cuts, no mosquitoes. They enjoy that. But then what happens? 21 says, what is the fate of these Sakama Bhaktas? Tetam bhuktva svargalokam vishadam kshine punye matyaloke vishanti. Having exhausted the punya in some svargalokas, then once the punya is exhausted, it's like the visa is expired and one will be deported back to the home country and one returns. Fortunately, hopefully in a Manushya Janma to top up again the punya. So that is the fate of the Kama Kamaha. Kama Kamaha means the desirer of objects of desire. That is the fate of these people. Now we come to a very important shloka and that is number 22. So the cause of samsara, Krishna says, is ignorance of my real nature of Ishvara. So these kamas, they are seeking finite ends using Bhagavan as the means. But the mumukshus and the jignasus, they seek the knowledge of para prakriti. And one can gain the knowledge only when the mind is ready through having performed karma yoga and upasana yoga. Now we come to this important shloka which comes in the Vishnu Sahasranama also. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham ityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Ananyaha chintayantaha mam ye janaha paryupasate tesham ityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. So, this is considered the centerpiece shloka of the entire Gita. Shloka number 22 in the middle of the Gita. So, Krishna is talking about those who have ananya bhakti, nishkama bhakti, and says those who have nishkama bhakti towards me, who want me and not what I can give them, whose worship is pure, then here is the assurance of Krishna says, Tesham nityabhiyuktanam, for them, I will take care of their yoga and kshema. So these two words are commonly used for yoga means to acquire something. Something that I think I need. And kshema is to protect and preserve that. So is not life all about this generally? We acquire things, then we have to protect it. Whether it's possessions or a title or a relationship, something, I pursue it first, I get it, then there's a struggle to preserve it. But Krishna says, those who don't want anything from me, I will secure for them what they really need, for the prarabdha to exhaust. And I will also take care for not only those bhaktas, but the family of the bhaktas also. That is the punyam. The Mundaka Upanishad says, those who study this Paravidya, It is not a solitary journey. Mundaka Upanishad clearly says that 7 generations of the past departed and 7 to follow will be blessed if one person in the family pursues this jnana. And here the same assurance is given in a different way. And, we see so many stories from the Shastras illustrating this point, how miraculously somebody will come and pay off a loan for this Nishkama Bhakta, or remove some accusation or some blame. Somehow they are helped by divine intervention. Yeah? So that is the grace of Ishvara, who supports those bhaktas who seek nothing for themselves, but who are engaged only in Loka Sangraha and seeking the Paraprakriti Sarupa of Ishvara. Very beautiful shloka here. Now, what about the other Sakama Bhaktas? Does Bhagavan not take care of them? There is a difference. For those who are seeking some ends, Krishna says, I have given them a buddhi. I have given them a body, Ichha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti. Let them do it themselves. So they have to fend for themselves. Yeah. And that is the whole karma cycle. I desire and I put my desire into action, then I get the phalam, then I have to protect and preserve it. But the one who is desireless, yeah, then things just happen on their own, and so that the Jiva Yatra goes on smoothly. Okay? Then we come to 23rd shloka, which is also important. Yepyan yadevata bhaktaha yajante shraddhayanvitaha tepi mamev kaunteya yajantya vidhi purvakam. Now, what about those who worship various devatas? Yeah? Other devatas, not Nirguna Brahma Sarupa, but Saguna Brahma versions. Now, what happens to them? And we see that, people are worshipping all kinds of devatas. We have our Kula Devata, Grama Devata, Ishta Devata, which families traditionally have worshipped, and there is a mental imprint coming from the past, perhaps. Yeah, we are introduced into that. So Krishna says here, Tepi Mameva Bhajante. All of them are worshipping me alone, the one supreme reality. But they think they are worshipping the different devatas. And they think the prasada is also coming from them. Yeah, the result is coming from their Ishta Devata or Kula Devata or Grama Devata whom they worshipped. But Krishna says, no, I am the Bhokta. In 24, Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhurevacha. I am the receiver of all the prayers, all the sankalpas, all the pujas. I am the one. I am the Bhokta. But Natu mam abhijanante. But they do not know this. You may have heard of this beautiful Subhashitam. Akashat patitam toyam yatha sagaram gacchati sarvadeva namaskaraha keshavam pradigacchati. That is the rainwater from the Akasha, clouds, falls down and then forms various water bodies, streams, rivers, and all of them have one destination, that is the ocean. Yeah? So to all the namaskaras of all the kinds of bhaktas, whether they are doing karma yoga as an expression of their bhakti, or they're doing japa, or tapas, or yajnam, or dhanam, or swadhyaya, whatever, all comes to me alone. I am the one receiving them. And in accordance with their needs, their mindset, their shraddha, I will bless them. And they think they are getting it from their Ishtadevata. But I am the one behind all these 33 crores of devatas. Many people say, oh, your Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma is pantheistic. You have so many gods, it's confusing. Especially children of Indian origin studying in foreign countries, they have a very tough time in American schools or European schools, yeah, because they will be questioned by their friends. You have so many gods. But then, Puja Swamiji statement, we don't have many gods. We don't even have one God. We have only God. That is, for us, everything is divine. The rainwater, The child is divine, the cow is divine, the sunrise, everything is divine. So, that is, everything is Ishvara. Then we have, and so that discussion of this Nishkama Bhakti continues with Krishna pointing out a beautiful shloka, also oft quoted. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati bhut tadaham bhakti pahritam ashnami prayatatmanaha yat karoshi yadashnasi yajjuhoshi dadasi yat yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Very, very important two shlokas. Krishna says, you don't have to do, ostentatious rituals, laksharchana, koti archana, But if somebody offers me just a flower, a fruit, a leaf, just water even, does Abhishekam with Nishkama Bhakti, I accept that. So whatever you do, yat karoshi, whatever you eat, whatever you donate, whatever you offer, whatever tapas you do it as Krishna Arpanam, as an offering unto Ishvara. That's the 27th shloka there. Now you may recall stories from the Ramayana, how Mata Shabari, tasted the fruits and then offered it to Sri Rama. Sri Rama accepted, but Lakshmana did not accept. Because Sri Rama is Purushottama, is Parabrahma in that Vesha. And so, Krishna also, when Krishna visits Hastinapura and then is invited by Vidura, then Vidura's wife, she's so excited that Krishna has arrived in their home. So she gets bananas. And in her excitement, she gives the peel to Krishna and discards the fruit. Absent-mindedness because of that bhakti. And Krishna is having the peel till Vidura enters, and says, what are you doing? So that is the glory of Nishkama Bhakti. But for a Sakama Bhaktas, they have to take care of all the details. What is the Sankalpa? Am I chanting the mantra properly? What is the Naivedyam to be cooked and prepared? How it is to be offered? How much dakshina to give to all those priests? There's so many details which have to be taken care of if you want the result. But if you don't want any result, if you have Nishkama Bhakti, then, you can just offer even a flower, fruit, leaf, water, that we load it with the Nishkama Bhakti and accepted by the Lord. Then Krishna says in 29, Krishna clarifies one thing. He says, Sama aham sarva bhuteshu. I don't have any favorites, Krishna, Arjuna. I am samam. I am the same. Anyone can approach me at any time. Name dveshaha, name priyaha. Nobody is exceedingly dear to me, nor do I hate anybody. And, I am there for everyone to approach. Yeah. But Jnani to Atmaiva me matam. Jnani is the dearest to me because there is no more divide between us. Okay. Then the last concluding verses from 30 onwards, 30, 31, 32, talk about the transforming power of bhakti. This is a whole bhakti shatkam that we are seeing. Krishna says, Apichet suduracharaha bhajate mam ananya bhak. Even the worst sinner, who begins to change, who inquires, and by satsanga, he has met a noble soul, like Ratnakara met Narada. Then his life can be transformed, and they are to be considered as sadhus. Sadhureva samantavyaha, 30th shloka. And I bless them. How do I bless them? Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigachati. They will also rapidly purify their minds and eventually come to me. And that beautiful assurance, Name Bhaktaha Pranashyati. My devotee will never perish. Then Krishna says, so whatever be the background, they can all approach me and be blessed. Then anityam asukam lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. 33rd shloka, Krishna says that having been born in this anitya loka, mritya loka, which is asukham. If there is no permanent ananda here. Bhajasvamam. No? If you want the permanent anandam, discover me, discover my para prakriti swarupaha. And that is what moksha is all about. Now we come to the last shloka of this chapter 9, which is very important. And there, the stages of bhakti is pointed out beautifully. We will see that now. Manmana bhava madbhaktaha madhyaji maam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yuktvaivam atmanam matparayanaha. Arjuna, you be bhava manmana, committed to me, madbhaktaha, my devotee, madhyaji, offering everything to me, doing namaskaras to me. Then what will happen? Mam eva eshyasi. You will reach me. Yuktva evam atmanam mat parayanaha. All this mat and maya and all, they're all forms of the asmat shabda in Sanskritam. I. So when Krishna says I, mostly Krishna will be referring to which Krishna? Devaki Nandana or Parabrahma? Nirguna Parabrahma. Okay, Ishvara. The Paraprakriti Ishvara. Whom we can invoke in a Saguna Brahma also. Okay. So here we see the 5 stages, and there is a nice flow chart here, which I'd like to show you. That is, first of all, we are all endowed with needs. There is a need for all of us. And so, Krishna says, if you want to fulfill your desires, you invoke me, I will help you. Yeah, fulfill your needs. So, mad bhaktaha bhava. But then, from the artha stage, you become a jignasu. That is, you make me your goal. May I be the param ayanam for you. Then, man mana bhava. You be totally committed to me. Whatever you do, how you do it, you just have that sharanagati, manmana bhava. Then madhyaji bhava is every moment can you dedicate to me. That's why in our culture, from the time we get up, we do bhumi vandanam, nadi vandanam, bhojana vandanam, all these to remember God every moment. And finally, Sharanagati, Mam Namaskuru, and do everything and consider everything as Bhagwan's blessings. Yeah? So very nicely, these compounds are described here. Mad Bhaktaha. You be a Sakama Bhakta, no problem initially, but then you upgrade to a Jignasu Bhakta. Make me your goal. And then may your mind be committed to me, and your actions be offered to me, and may you surrender to me. So that is this beautiful chapter, which is loaded with bhakti. So Krishna has also said earlier in chapter 4, I think, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tanstataiva bhajamyaham. Krishna says, the way bhaktas approach me, I am going to respond in that manner. If they are needy bhaktas, I may help them fulfill their desires. But sometimes, for their own spiritual growth, I may deny the object of desire because I want them to evolve into Nishkama bhaktas. Yeah? So that is the route here. The stages from Eka Bhakti to Aneka Bhakti to Arupa Bhakti is the transition we are taken along here. Om Tat Sat. इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे राजविद्या राजगुह्ययोगो नाम नवमोऽध्यायः। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ तत्सत्।